Hello, thanks for joining me on Life in Surround. Today I'm going to be sharing with you one of those happy surprises that I love so much in this hobby of exploring music in surround. Today I'm going to be reviewing Manic by Halsey, a new Atmos album. At least new to me. I just discovered it on Tidal a few days ago. Manic is Halsey's 2020 album. In fact, it's the first album of 2020 to go platinum. I'm sure that others have by now as well. It was released, I think, back in January. I was at a friend's house recently and we were watching Trevor Noah on TV, and he did an interview with Halsey. I confess I was not familiar with her or her music, and I was instantly a little bit shocked by her hairstyle, but by the end of this interview I was just absolutely in love, to be honest. And when I got home, I fired up Tidal to check out some Halsey music, and I was pleased to see that the album discussed with Trevor Noah, Manic, was available, and it was available in Atmos. I will listen to music in stereo if I have to, and if you don't have an Atmos setup, I definitely encourage you to check out this album no matter what. Her interview impressed me so much. For a 26-year-old, she seems to have just an unbelievable depth and wisdom and compassion and a desire to make a change for the positive in this world by sharing her experiences with people who might benefit from them. Manic explores Halsey's bipolar, and me personally, having a loved one with bipolar, felt a connection to what she had to say about her struggles, but also her determination and her growth and her survival. Not only has she contended with bipolar in her life, but also several sexual assaults. That definitely comes through in this album, and there is sadness and there is anger, but there's also strength and this continual theme of survival and growth. Lyrically, Halsey continually uses irony, juxtaposition, and even contradiction, masterfully, in my opinion, in a very successful attempt to portray for the listener what it's like to deal with bipolar, to have a shifting of moods. She says, "I'm constantly having a breakthrough, or a breakdown, or a blackout." Later in the album, in one song, she expresses the emotional capacity to commit to a lover until death, while in the next song, she laments a horribly abusive relationship and expresses the strength of will to survive and move on. Favorite songs for me are Without Me and finally Beautiful Stranger. And if you're not familiar with Halsey's music, I would recommend starting there. I think there are promo videos available for both songs, at least there are on Tidal. Should be pretty easy to audition them somehow for free and just see if you like this music. Immediately upon seeing the cover of the album, I was struck by how similar it is to Sea Change by Beck, and there's even one song on the album that I think is musically very similar, the song More, and it also happens to be among my favorites on the album, so check that one out too. And Sea Change by Beck is one of the greatest 5.1 surround albums of all time, and beautiful musically in its own right. And Beck also has some cool Atmos music up on Tidal, by the way. So I usually try to tie in other points of interest, if I can, during a review. The album is aided by guest appearances. Dominic Fike, Alanis Morissette, how cool is that? And I think she has some Atmos up on Tidal as well. And Suga from BTS. I don't know if there's any other K-pop fans out there, but I like me some BTS. Min Yu Ki. This album goes through a variety of emotions and topics and has vignettes, has some recurring themes, especially in the videos. The storyteller with kind of an elephant creepy mask, which dates at least back to her previous album. The Atmos is the residing place of background vocals, synth parts, guitar parts, percussion. It's used very discreetly and very effectively at many key points during the album, especially during the vignettes and the segues. But for instance, during the song Clementine, when her mellow lead vocal, locked up front and center where it ought to be, is juxtaposed by a shouting, distorted voice that's brought out in the room with the Atmos, like it's confronting you. I don't need anyone. I just need everyone, and then some. In another chilling moment, the album pauses, and Halsey's breath that emanates from front center comes out into the room and up through the rear Atmos in an effervescent fashion. I came upon Halsey by chance. I usually don't listen to a lot of pop. I'm more of a rocker. But I'm so glad that I decided to check out her latest album, Manic. It is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. I will be returning to it for repeated listens. It has the depth and the sincerity, the reality, the grit, and just that personal touch that I prefer in pop music. That's why I like Fiona Apple and Pink, and I would put Halsey right up there with them. I'm definitely a fan now. And like I said, if you have an Atmos setup, go ahead and subscribe to Tidal if you have to. I think that's the only way to hear this album in Atmos right now. Or at least check out this album, no matter what you do, in stereo. It is powerful, it's meaningful, it exceeded all of my expectations. I give this album at least a 9 or a 10, for musicality, and the mix is great. Definitely gave my Atmos system, including my dual 12-inch subwoofers, quite a workout. Rollin' 808 samples pervade, as is the case with most pop, hip-hop, R&B, and rap music. I'm not sure what more there is to say about Manic. It definitely is a challenge thematically. There are some upbeat moments, especially with the beats themselves, but many of the themes explored here are tough. And so I recommend it to people who have the emotional depth and capacity and are just in the mood to listen to something gritty and challenging. Sometimes we need feel-good music, and sometimes we need music that shares vulnerability. Because I'm sure that there are many other people out there who are struggling with the same things that Halsey has, and this album is a way of sharing and strengthening together. Outstanding sonics, music, lyrics. This has my wholehearted recommendation. By the way, I dedicate this video to a friend of mine who likes this shirt. You know who you are. I'll wrap up for now. I was supposed to do a review of Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water today, but I just wasn't in the mood. I'll get to it soon. Ultravox, John Lennon, some surprises coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share the video, comment. Let me know what you think about this album. Let me know what you think if you can listen to the Atmos. And until next time, live life in surround.